Hey guys, it's about time that I made this video because there's a lot of people emotionally charged when it comes to Tesla stock. There's people on one side of the aisle saying that Tesla's going to crash and go to $10. Then you've got other people on the other side of the aisle say, just wait it out and Tesla's going to soar back up. Now, I've seen a lot of people who, they're basically talking with their emotions. So basically in this video, I need to clear absolutely everything up. I'm going to give you the whole picture when it comes to Tesla stock. Now, what I need you guys to do before you comment in that comment box and make something negative or positive or anything like that, watch the full video because I'm going to go over everything that you pretty much need to know when it comes to Tesla stock. And I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start with 4 reasons why Tesla could crash. Yes, all you bulls out there, there are four main reasons why it could crash. Let's get into the first one. The first reason is because Tesla are in a terrible financial position. That's just the truth of it. Let's look at their balance sheet. As you can see, their current assets at the moment, okay, are $7.6 billion. Then, if we scroll down and look at their current liabilities, we can see that they are $9.2 billion. So, they've got more current liabilities than current assets. Now, for those of you who don't really know much about accounting, current assets are just assets that are relevant within 1 year. Current liabilities are just liabilities relevant or owed within 1 year. So when we look at the 1 year figures, they've got more current things that they owe than the current things that they own. Does that make sense? It's a terrible place to be in. And this is why Elon Musk has had to go out and borrow more money. He's had to raise more debt. He's had to sell more stock. And basically, I think he raised up to $2 billion worth of cash because he's in this terrible short-term financial position. We'll get into what Elon Musk says about it all soon, but let's just look at their longer-term debt just so I can show you a bit more of the picture. So if you look at their long-term debt, we can see that they have a debt-to-equity ratio of 2.1. That means they have double the amount of debt compared to the equity that they own in the business. Double. Now, I'm just going to give you a bit of a relevancy point. Warren Buffett, he likes a debt to equity ratio of below 0.5. He likes debt to be at least half of what the equity is that you own in the business. If we look at Tesla stock, they have double the amount of debt, the things that they owe to other people compared to the equity that they own in the business. It's a terrible financial position that they're in. And it is one of my problems with Elon Musk. He is looking to grow. He's doing amazing things with the business, but he's not exactly financially conservative by any stretch of the imagination. So, and Elon Musk, he's starting to realize this. He's talked about the problems that he's had with debt in a recent letter that he sent out to all of his shareholders. So this is what he said. He said, "It is important to bear in mind that we lost $700 million in the first quarter this year, which is over $200 million per month. Investors nonetheless were supportive of our efforts and they agreed to give us $2.4 billion of net proceeds to show that we can be financially sustainable." That is a lot of money, but actually only gives us approximately 10 months at the first quarter burn rate to achieve break even. 10 months! It's vital that we respect the faith investors have shown in Tesla, but it will require great effort to do so. That is why, going forward, all expenses of any kind, anywhere in the world, including parts, salary, travel, expenses, rent, literally every payment that leaves our bank account must be reviewed, confirmed as critical, and at the top of every page of outgoing payments signed by our Chief Financial Officer. I will personally review and sign every 10th page. Please examine closely every expense where responsibility is, etc., etc., and he goes on about this. What does that tell you? It tells you that they're in they're in pretty bad financial state. Let's just say it says that. So that is one reason why Tesla stock could crash big and has been crashing big, let's be honest. It's on that downward pattern. And that is a big reason. They're in a poor financial position. They got to get their act straight. Now let's move on to the next reason, which is Tesla are in China. They made a lot of sales in China, but what has happened with China and the USA recently? For those who have been following the news, obviously it's the trade war. And okay, so we think about Tesla in China. First of all, I just want to show you something about China. As of the last couple of years, the Chinese government has really been advocating electric vehicles. As you can see in 2014 and below that, the United States was selling more electric vehicles. But then the Chinese government got really hands-on and they really wanted us to promote electric vehicles because they want to clean up pollution and they realize electric vehicles is a smarter system. So from 2015 onwards, they really just started to shoot up in sales, China did, with regards to electric vehicles. And when we look at the stats for 2018, China sold way more electric vehicles than the United States. It was 1.2 million versus 361,000. So that's about 3 times the amount of electric vehicles in the United States. And for those who follow Tesla, they will know that Tesla is really big in China. They've made a lot of sales specifically with the Model 3 in China. Now what has happened is there's been a trade war between the USA and China, and China, they don't really want to buy USA products because that's the whole deal with the trade war. They don't want to make as many trades. Essentially, that's how it works. And this is not necessarily going to be a great thing for Tesla, considering how many sales that they make in China and considering how big the Chinese potential market is. And also, we all know that Tesla have their Gigafactory 3 being built in China, so there are concerns over that. So, that is the second reason why Tesla could crash by even more, because of this trade war, this bad relationship between the USA and China as of recently. And basically, it results in less sales, less profit for Tesla going forward, unless things can get sorted out. And then the third thing that I need to tell you guys about Tesla stock and why it could crash by even further is because the autopilot system built by Tesla, apparently there's been some more crashes that have come along. One main crash due to a failure in the autopilot system. So as you can see, some of these titles, autopilot crash, Tesla did not fix the autopilot problem for 3 years, and now there's been another crash. Basically what happened with this crash, from what I've heard from the viewers out there, was that the guy wasn't paying attention, which you should do when you're on the autopilot function. You should be paying attention. And I don't know the full story. All I know is that there has been some autopilot crashes. And this ain't a good thing, because a big part of Tesla is the innovation, the technology, and the fact that they've been able to develop self-driving vehicles. If this autopilot function, if this self-driving function is not going to work in the future, this is bad news when it comes to Tesla stock and their future potential when it comes to selling cars in general. Now, the fourth reason why Tesla could crash is there's big competition around electric vehicles. Like, all of the big companies are realizing that electric vehicles are becoming more and more popular and more profitable, and essentially electric vehicles will become the future at some point in time. What does this mean is all of these big vehicle companies, they're starting to develop their own electric vehicle. What does this mean for Tesla? Well, they've got more competitors to compete against. Don't get me wrong, Tesla is still delivering the best quality product, but you've got these big car companies, with a lot of money that can invest a lot of money into electric vehicles and basically compete well against Tesla's vehicles. At least in the future, that is going to be a growing problem for Tesla. But we'll see how they do. As I say, they do have the best electric vehicle out there in the market. So those are 4 reasons why Tesla could crash by even more. I'm not going to lie, it does have the potential to go below $100. It does have the potential. I'm not saying it will by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying it could crash by a lot. They're in bad financial state. They have autopilot functions. As of recently, they're having a growing competitor base, and of course they've got the trade war going on between the USA and China. And basically what's happened is it's been bad news after bad news after bad news when it comes to Tesla. And what do investors do when they hear bad news? They react with fear, and of course they sell out of the stock. That's what's been happening as of lately. We're on that downwards pattern. Investors are panicking. They realize they don't understand the value of Tesla stock, and they're dropping out of the stock like, I don't even know what the saying is. They're getting the heck out of the stock basically. That is not the full picture with Tesla stock. That is one side to the picture. Tesla stock could crash. Let me show you the other side. The fact of the matter is that the other side is that Tesla could absolutely shoot up at any point in time when some good news gets flowing towards the stock. At the moment, we're on the bad news cycle. Then what normally happens is a good news cycle follows at some point in time. We don't know when though. And I just want to show you why Tesla stock could be worth a whole lot more than what it is worth today. The very first thing that we need to talk about is the robo-taxis feature, which Elon Musk, he's talked about this. He says he's well ahead when it comes to self-driving technology, and he reckons by next year they'll be able to have the first robo-taxis running on the road by 2020. So now we might ask, what type of money can they make from this robo-taxi segment? So let's look at this. The price per mile is $0.18. Gross profit per mile is 65 cents. Annual mileage is 90,000. Lastly, the total profit that each car could make is $30,000. And each car should be able to last 11 years. Meaning for every vehicle, you could make $330,000 of profit on. Okay, each vehicle's potentially worth $330,000. How many vehicles might there be? And Elon Musk has actually talked about this. He said by 2020, Tesla will have over 1 million vehicles on the road with the capacity of self-driving. Now, let's just say 15% of those million people owning those Tesla vehicles are willing to make money with their vehicles, so they lease them out for periods of time when they're not using it. That could be 150,000 Tesla robotaxis on the road, 150,000 robotaxis with a possible value of $330,000 each. That's potentially an extra $49.5 billion of gross profit available to Tesla. That's why the stock could double just like that if the robotaxi feature starts to hit off. Because basically with robotaxis, they can do the exact model that Uber and Lyft are doing, except they can do it way cheaper because they're not going to have the main expense, which is obviously the driver. And essentially what could happen if these robotaxi features work, which Elon Musk says he'll have it working by 2020 with a lot of vehicles on the road, what could happen? They could literally destroy the market caps of Uber and Lyft. Uber's got a market cap of $69 billion. Lyft's market cap is a lot less at $16 billion. But yes, Tesla could take a whole big market share of this market that Uber and Lyft are in, just because they can deliver a cheaper business model. I'm not saying this is a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a possibility. Just like, yeah, it's a possibility that Tesla could shoot up because of these reasons that I'm getting into, and it's a possibility that Tesla could just keep shooting down for a lot of time. And now the next thing I want to talk about, which is the second reason that Tesla could shoot up, which is electric vehicles are on the rise and consumers, they love Tesla. So let me just show you something about electric vehicles. As you can see, the growth here in the years that we're in, 2018, 2019, you know, it's absolutely nothing compared to what it could be in the likes of 2040. And by 2040, electric vehicles could account for 35% of all new vehicle sales, according to this Bloomberg graph. And the big shift when it comes to sales in electric vehicles is expected to be by 2022, when electric vehicles will cost the same as their internal combustion counterparts. That's the point of liftoff for the sales. And essentially, my personal belief is that electric vehicles are the future. They're cheaper, they're better for the environment, they're a better car in general, they've got better performance. I personally believe that maybe, I don't know how long it will take, but at some point in the future, we will have basically all electric vehicles on the road, very few fuel combustion vehicles. Now this is something that we have to acknowledge, is that Tesla is the main company when it comes to electric vehicles. They're selling the most cars when it comes to US small and mid-sized luxury car sales in general. They're beating the likes of BMW, they're beating the likes of Volvo, Lexus, all of them. Tesla are the main company when it comes to electric vehicles, so they're the main company that can potentially profit from the rise in electric vehicles, and at the moment they're making a lot of money, even though we're really new in the electric vehicle phase of this world. The Tesla Model 3 is blowing away the competition, and even in 2019 it's the same thing. The Model 3 was yet again the best selling premium car in the US in Q1, outselling the runner-up by almost 60%. At the end of the day, the vehicles that Tesla make are just so much better than what any other competitor can make. Which brings me on to my third point, which is because Tesla have been investing so much more time, they've been around developing electric vehicles for way longer than the other companies have, and they've invested so much more money in electric vehicles that at the end of the day, they've just got a better product than what everyone else has. And this is why consumers, they love Tesla's vehicles, because they're just amazing quality. And the time advantage is a massive thing. When you've been working on something for so much longer than other companies, you're gonna be so much further ahead, and that's where we find Tesla at the moment. They're just a lot further ahead than other car manufacturers when it comes to electric vehicles. Now the fourth thing that I would say why Tesla stock could absolutely shoot up is because they've got the genius Elon Musk at the helm. Let's think about what Elon Musk has done. First he developed PayPal, then he went on and developed SpaceX, shot some rockets up into Mars. He developed Tesla at the same time as this. He's been developing Solar City. At the end of the day, Elon Musk, he's made a lot of successful companies, and he's proven himself time and time again. And let's be honest, he's the Einstein, he's the Nikola Tesla of this generation, okay? He's the Henry Ford. I don't know what you describe him as. Basically, I personally see him as the genius of our generation. I don't even know if he's a human. There's a lot of speculation that he might be an alien. So, you know, you've got an alien at the helm of running Tesla. Obviously, that's a joke, guys, for those who might take me seriously. Basically, what I want to say is you've got the world's greatest genius, Elon Musk, at the helm of this company. If you want to back Elon Musk, how do you do that? You buy into Tesla stock, and he could be the sole reason that just shoots up this stock again. So there you go, guys. That's the full picture. I'm not going to be biased and say, yes, it's going to be it's a guaranteed investment. Tesla is not a guaranteed investment. You've got no solid earnings to rely upon. And saying so, yes, Tesla stock could crash. It's entirely possible. It has been crashing. But on the other hand, Tesla has a lot of growth opportunities. There are a lot of reasons why it could absolutely shoot up. The thing about Tesla, high risk, high reward, which is why I only have a small portion of my portfolio in Tesla, a very small portion, because there's nothing about Tesla that's guaranteed. It's just high risk. You could make a lot of money, you could lose a lot of money. That's just the truth at the end of the day. I'm a truth teller. I'm going to tell you the truth on this channel. And yes, it could crash or it could blow up. That's just what could happen. At the moment, what's been happening, it's been crashing because Tesla run on cycles of fear and greed. At the moment, we're in a very fearful cycle. You look at CNBC, you look at all those news reporters, you look at Jim Cramer, what are they saying? They're talking about Tesla crashing, they're talking about all the bad news that's come out with Tesla. They're talking about the trade war, they're talking about Tesla's financial issues, they're talking about the autopilot crashing, bad news after bad news. We're in a fear cycle when it comes to Tesla stock. What do investors do? They react with fear and greed. At the moment, they're fearful. They realize they don't understand the stock as well as they should. Then they're piling out of Tesla stock. But, you know, at some point, it could come around when the cycle changes. The big question is, when do we get in? When will that cycle change? That's a good question. Obviously, I don't know the answer for sure. I wish I did. But I personally would wait a little bit more because we're in that fear cycle. I don't really see the good news coming around, at least in the short term. Maybe a couple of months away we could see some good news starting to come out with Tesla stock. But at the moment, I just see more and more bad news coming with Tesla. And I personally think the most likely option is for it to keep following that pattern and go downhill, at least in the short term. But, you know, it could shoot up at any point in time. All it really needs is some good news coming out and for investors to start reacting with greed again. So, you know, I mean, just one single thing about the trade war and it could change everything. That's just what could happen. Let's wait and see what happens with Tesla stock. I hope, you know, you learned something from this video. I've tried to give you the full, honest picture with it. I've tried my best. And thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like, that'd be awesome. Or I'll probably get a lot of dislikes as well. That's alright. I don't mind. As long as I'm telling you the truth and what my honest opinions and what the facts are, that's alright. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to my new YouTube channel where I talk about living in Thailand and being a digital nomad. I've made a couple of videos on there and I really like making videos for the other channel as well. It's a lot of fun. You might get some value from it. I'll see you all in the next video.